If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast. To all of the queens who are fighting alone, baby, you're not dancing on your own. Let's go. Without me, you wanna, but you can't. Nah. Think it's funny, but honey, can't run the show on your own. I can feel my body shake. There's only so much I can take. I'll show you how a real queen behaves. No damsel in distress, don't need to save me. Once I start breathing fire, you can't tame me. And you might think I'm weak without a sword, but if I had one, it'd be bigger than yours. If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast. To all of the queens who are fighting alone, baby, you're not dancing on your own.
She's the queen and I'm just lucky to get close to the throne. I'm not worthy, but she's taking me home. Yeah. No damsel in distress, don't need a savior. She's a goddess, I would never try to change her. She knows she got my world inside of her palm, but she can have whatever she wants.
All of the kings had their queens on the throne. We would pop champagne and raise a toast. To all of the queens who are fighting alone, baby, you're not dancing on your own.
Let's go. I'm a queen, I'm a boss, I'm a brat. Hella independent, I get this, I get that. Shout out to the girls from the burp to the trap. I don't need a man for shit, put myself on the map. Oh, and they thought I was done. I ain't even hit my peak and I'm still on the run. I'm like Lolo on the lap, how I'm running the track. Only time I see it L's in a luxury tax. And my whole team when they post a pic just because they're like, oh, she chillin'. $1 million deals and my lipstick still it. I need acrylic nails, I don't need no critics. So witty gon' glow, so witty gon' shine. Circle full of tens, I don't see no nines. My name on they lips, my name on they mind. How I take it from the block to the Hollywood sign.
All the kings had their queens on the throne. We would pop champagne and raise a toast. To all the queens who are fighting alone, baby, you're not dancing on your own. You stole my heart, you intercepted it. Now you're gone, have to accept it. Did I meet your mom too soon? Or did I do what I always do? Yeah, we made it to the 50, and then you kissed me. We made it to the 40, a new love story. We made it to the 30, and you did me dirty right then. You put the end in tight end, and as I touched down, just like you in a game, I'm in another town, and nothing feels the same. Wish I could go back when we met that day. Oh, whoa, and throw a flag on the play.
If there's one guy, one creator, one comic book creator, one of the outliers who is the impetus for me doing these weekly streams, if there's one guy who said, okay, fuck it, I'm making this a series, it's this guy right here, Fletcher Flanks. That's right, we're going to be talking about this guy. Yeah, this is what I did the series for. And we're going to have fun with this guy. But first, enjoy this quick video here.
thank you, Mr. Duckman.
Okay, that's it. That's strike 3.
Shoot.
Behind the fire and smoke, a beautiful city now, a war zone, fighting in streets, no time to joke. Just pray we survive, pray we're not alone. The dangers around the corners of every street, but we won't back down. We won't admit defeat. We need a hero, a savior we can meet. We need a warrior of justice, a warrior Drake. We need a warrior of hope, a warrior Drake. We need a warrior of hope, a warrior Drake. We need a warrior of truth, a warrior Drake. Take a road that lead us all down a path to a call. This is our city, these are our lives. You mutant freaks won't make us die. We need a runway to make us die. We need a warrior of justice. We need a warrior of hope, a warrior Drake. We need a warrior of hope, a warrior Drake. We need a warrior of truth, a warrior Drake. We need a warrior of truth, a warrior Drake. We need a warrior to lead the way. Someone will bring light, turn night into day. The lone warrior Drake. It's time you slay.
I picked a hell of a time to stream, right? With the breaking news. And I know this is not the stream where we talk about that stuff, but yeah, Ricada, man, oh man, you talk about hitting rock bottom. Like, and Lord Raptor Jesus is gonna stream after me and he'll talk about it. So he posted the link in the chat. So go to Lord Raptor Jesus' stream at 10 o'clock. We'll all go right there after my stream. We'll hang out there and talk about that. That way we can keep this stream on brand. But yeah, I'm sure that we all have a lot to see on that one. Hello, and Knox. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Linkovich. How are you, Linkovich? That's welcome here. Prayer 7 in the chat. I see J Dollar. Of course, Lord Raptor Jesus. Geek Avenger in the chat. Lady Fairlane. I saw her there. Bear, one of my abusers, is stalking the chat. Guy in his room is also here. Let's see. Who did I miss? Did I miss anybody else? I think it's everybody, right? Valley Law posted earlier. So hail Valley Law. Thanks for being here. Richard Lasura, right? Richard Lasura. Yes, I see that some people are very, very knowledgeable about my subject today. And if there was one guy out of everybody that I profiled and will profile that made this stream something I had to do, it was Fletcher Hanks. So no, don't encourage Carol to come in, Bear. We're gonna have a friendly chat here. Please don't. I don't want violence in my chat. I hate violence in my chat. I don't want violence. Please don't encourage violence because I want a peaceful, loving stream. I don't want violence. I want peace and happiness. Because if we don't get it, then I'm sure you end up like this guy right here with his torso squeezed. Look at that. Look at that artwork. Now this is crazy artwork. Insanely crazy, right? Nobody's going to deny that this is freaking bonkers. But this is what drew me to Fletcher Hanks. Actually, a friend of mine a couple of decades ago introduced me to Fletcher Hanks. And it was very interesting story this guy had. Very quickly on his personal life. And I don't normally go into the artist's personal lives because Geek Avenger, stop it, Geek Avenger. Just because she's not here doesn't mean you do it. Don't do it. I have no insurance. Stop. Be good. Be good. Be good. We got 14 people on YouTube and 13 on Twitter watching. A beautiful, beautiful combination. So welcome. Welcome. And let's see here. So yeah, Fletcher Hanks. Okay, so his story is kind of similar in terms of his private life. It's somewhat similar to Percy Crosby in terms of the fact that both of them ended up dying alone and penniless. The difference is that Percy Crosby's kids wanted to be with him. They wanted to see him, and they got robbed of that chance. But Fletcher Hanks, his kids to the very end thought he was an asshole. Actually, he was considered abusive to his wife, so he wasn't quite the loving family man this guy was. So definitely not a, you know, let's see here. Oh, something interesting in the chat. I'm just reading the chat for a second. A woman named Angela Urumova in Pennsylvania, where Ed used to live, sadly. She was arrested with a false rape report and sitting in instant jail for a month. I think she could be. I'm gonna look into that. Thanks for that information. Might be relevant. I'm not sure, but it's always good to have knowledge and information. So I appreciate that information. I'm gonna look into that. But yeah, Fletcher Hanks, just like Percy Crosby, died alone, penniless. Actually, he died on a park bench. I think the story was he died. It was in the wintertime, and he died in the park bench, frozen, alone and homeless. Yeah, they found him frozen to death in an apartment in New York City. So he died in New York City in a park bench, frozen, penniless, and apart from his family. But unlike Percy Crosby, his kids did not really regret not seeing him. So they witnessed how he treated their mom. So obviously that's going to produce bitter feelings. So was she though? Okay, no, it was that her? Is Angela Barsova one of the people that accused that? I wasn't sure. Because I'll look into that. I absolutely will look into that. So, but I don't want to do it here for the stream, but I do appreciate that information. So I'll look into that. Angela Barsova, interesting. You may have given me some extra homework tonight. How dare you? How dare you? Anyway. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So yeah, that is the quick, brief history of Fletcher Hanks, the man. Not necessarily a good person, not necessarily a beacon of morality, probably an all-around jerk. But that's just who he is as a person. Now we're going to go into the artist and what he contributed to the comic lore. A guy in his room says, as long as he doesn't get too dark, an artist having issues, so he's kind of more interested in them. Yeah, it's not that dark. It's just, he was an asshole. I think that's as dark as it gets with him. He was an asshole. If only Fletcher had that stake that Dark Gift couldn't finish. That's all he needed, Link, was that stake. But like Dark Gift, he pussied out. Like Dark Gift. So they don't learn. Word on the street is Carol is also booked with Mercada, class 1. That's why Carol's on here, right? Yes. Don't encourage her, guys. Stop encouraging her. She needs to be turned around. Someone has to fix it. Look, I think you could fix Carol, right? Can you fix her, Linkovich? I'm going to trust you as the man that can fix Carol so she can stop tossing tables. Now, let me give you a quick... Actually, let me pull out the book. I'm going to pull out a book for reference here. Let's see. Let's pull out... I don't even have it, right? I should say... One of my earliest Superman books, but let's see here. Okay, I guess I'll use this. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you some references. So let me go to my camera for a second and switch cameras. Let's go to the high definition one. That one. Yes, here I am. Bear, this is for you. This is for you, Bear. Okay, Bear? Because you want to see my face, Bear? I know you're watching, Bear. Here's my lovely face. Oh, no, actually, no, that's not Bear. It's Manicore. Manicore is the one that hates my face. Well, Manicore, I am being proactive here. Here's my face, Manticore. All for you. I have here my hardcover volume 1 of Batman, the original Batman comics. One of my most prized possessions. I love the hardcover presentation of my. This is just one of my favorite purchases. But one thing I want to show you is this. So in the early Batman comics, the first Batman comics, one thing you're going to notice is the lack of backgrounds. How everything is all like solid color. This is the first issue of Batman. This is Detective Comics What number was it? It was Detective Comics number 27. Detective Comics 27 was the first appearance of Batman. And you're going to see that, aside from a few panels, most of the panels are one color. They're just not visible. Fletcher Hanks. Let me see. Which one was the first one here? Is it this one? I think it was this one, right? Let's see here. I think this is the one. Let's see here. It was yeah, you're gonna see here with his first comics, every single panel, almost every single panel had a background. Almost every single one. Even if it had like minimal background, it still had background. He almost always filled his panels with stuff. Everything had, minimal objects, but there was always something in the background of the panels. Even the way he added the text in, it made the text a part of the panel. And I talked about this in one of my earlier Outlier streams about the usage of text and how to incorporate it to make it part of the visual. And I love that busy look that a lot of comics do. I think EC Comics also does it, like with the Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Horror. They do a lot of the things where they add the text in perfectly with the visuals, and it becomes part of the visual, and it's just aesthetically pleasing. It makes it look busy, and it gives your eye plenty to look at. It exercises your eyes, and to me, that's what a good comic does. It exercises your eyes. So you don't look at pretty pictures; you're reading the words in conjunction with the pictures, and it just keeps your eyes busy. I love that. And Fletcher did a lot of that. He did one of the early, his early comics had plenty of background in each panel. So he filled his panels with stuff. And we'll get to the art style in a second, but he's credited as one of the first artists to do that added backgrounds to his panels and legit put I'm just looking at my panel here. Okay. He put his in other words, he made his panels busy and added a lot of meat to it. Let me go to the chat for a second. Golden Age Batman saved my life, says Geek Avenger. Yes, he was also a killer. Did you know that Batman in the early comics was a killer? Shot people, threw axes at their heads. Yeah, he was not that it's a bad thing. I mean, you got to punish the criminal somehow. You can't just always rely on the system because they keep letting him out and more people keep getting killed. Wait, why do I have a cup in the bowl? I was drinking my fruit veggie drink. And I was also eating a mixed trail nuts. Because I want to stay healthy. So I didn't get a chance to take it to the kitchen. They don't have your anus, says Geek Avenger. I don't get it. I do my dishes. I'm just one man. I can't do this and stream at the same time. I have to pick one. And I choose to stream. So Praetor says, you want more homework? Have you heard of the Basil Wolverton and his comic space? Basil Wolverton is on my list, by the way, Praetor, because I think who did he inspire? When I was doing my streams, which artist did he inspire? Which creator was it? Was it hold on, let me go to my comic Outliers content for a second. Because one of my earlier Outliers was clearly inspired by Wolverton. Who was it? It was it wasn't Von Bodie. Or was it Von Bodie? No. It wasn't Von. It was who was it? Was it one of my Outliers? Who was it that was inspired by Basil Wolverton? Let's see. I want to make sure that let's see here. Maybe it was Bodie. No. It wasn't Bodie. No, you know, I want to make sure I'm sorry because I want to give this information here so that you have the completeness of the knowledge of these people. So let's see. Maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, it wasn't Bodie. I forgot who it was. Maybe I'll find out later during the stream. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but yeah, one of my Outliers was inspired by Wolverton. Felsbeck says that he, meaning Fletcher Hanks, lived a long full life. Yes, he did. So I heard the gay dog, says Lord Raptor. Leave my dogs alone. They're my happiness, Lord Raptor. Leave them alone. What's up, Lasmat? I hope I didn't miss too much good stuff. No, you tuned in at a good time. I was giving a brief introduction. I talked a little bit about the man himself, Fletcher Hanks. I didn't go too much into his artwork yet, but I talked a little bit about his personal life, how in some ways it was mirrored. It mirrored Percy Crosby in terms of how he ended his life. Alone, penniless, without his family. But that was where the similarities ended. And when what am I saying? Fletcher Hanks is the one who was inspired by Basil Wolverton. That's where my mind is at. My because it's the breaking shit that happened earlier today, all the early stuff with the arcade and all that stuff. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go into this stream freestyling it because I find Fletcher very entertaining. So, but yeah, Fletcher Hanks is the one who was inspired by Basil Wolverton. So yeah, he's on my list. I'm definitely gonna do one on Basil Wolverton. Because why not? Because this is good stuff. So I'm either gonna do Basil Wolverton next week, or E.C. Seeger, because I'm reading the Popeye stuff right now, and I love it. It's just I love going back in time and reading the early comics and getting an idea and the reflection of our society from was it simpler back then? I don't know. It was Depression era. World War I was a thing, and maybe it wasn't as simple as we think it is, because we're so fucked up right now that we think we went backwards in time, it'll take us back away from this weird shit that's infecting our society. But no, I think they have their own weirdness going on. No, don't encourage her, guy in his room. We don't want flip tables. We don't want flip tables. This is not a violent stream. This is a peaceful stream. I'm a peaceful Pac. Please. No, don't do that. The image you're looking at, for those of you noobs out there, this is a character named Stardust, the one that's holding the guy in the green. Stardust was one of Fletcher Hanks's flagship characters, and he had a whole series of bullshit powers. Like, whatever the plot called for, Stardust had the power to do it. One issue had him separating a guy's head. I think it's in this page, actually, right? Let me see. But he had one issue where he separated a guy's head, another one where he turned the guy into a rat, and another one where some guy lived forever on a planet by himself, but I think he was a let's see here. He was maybe he was a rat. Oh, here we go. Okay, yes, here we go. So check this out. Look at this panel right here. I'm gonna just click on this one. Let me enlarge it. Can you enlarge it? No, it doesn't get enlarged. Not this one. Oh, I can enlarge it. Okay, no, maybe not as much. Okay, so he took the gangster's head off his body and sailed into space, and then he tosses it onto some weird giant, right? A headless giant, and the headless giant sucks in the head of the gangster, and that's the guy's punishment for the rest of his life. Is he has to be on a body that doesn't belong to him. So actually, I'm going to open this up on a separate page so I can enlarge the image better. So here we go. Okay, so there he is. That's Stardust carrying the gangster's head into space. He says to him, "You try to destroy the heads of a great nation, so your own head shall be destroyed." So he takes the head and tosses it into another planet where there's headless giants, right? And the headless giant grabs the head, right? Puts it on himself, and the head starts sinking into the body. Okay. This is, to be frank, Stardust's his brand of justice is what you would call fucked up. He was fucked up when it came to punishing the bad guys, and you loved it. I love it. It was the way how he punished these bad guys. There was no jail time. If Stardust came after you, you was getting fucked up. Okay. It was the finiteness of the punishment he delivered to the villains that made these stories so fucking wild, but so fucking entertaining and satisfying. Oh, you're asking him if Fletcher Hanks the kind of flip tables. Well, he was an alcoholic, so yeah, he probably did. I think he did. No, yeah, he was an alcoholic. So definitely. J Dawson, this is gay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Another long stream coming for Lord Robert Jesus, another 7-hour stream. Well, this is why I keep my streams to 2 hours so we can do the replay content, because Hey, no shade on anybody, none at all. But I like my streams to have content. And if I get 7 hours of this, I don't think anybody would rewatch it. But if I keep it at a certain length, people will watch it over and over if they like the content. Old-timey drugs like Landarium, or is it Landinum? Landinum? Yeah, Landinum. Okay. Laudanum. There you go. I said it wrong. When was LSD invented? Oh, I don't know. Maybe you have to ask the CIA. They might know. Wait, was it the 60s? Since I brought up the CIA? It might have been the 60s or the 50s. That's almost I have no mouth and must scream punishment. Yes, that's a perfect way of describing it. He did all kinds of fucked up things to the bad guys. And like I said, I love it. And you'd love it too if you watched it. It was it was that kind of bizarre, bizarre retribution that made his character stand out. They weren't about the jail time. They were about you getting fucked up. Totally getting fucked up. Massive Panda says, many of these older creators weren't concerned with filling every panel up with endless, eye-straining details. But if this came out now, I bet he'd be criticized for its minimalist approach. You know it, Massive Panda. You absolutely know it. He would be totally ripped a new asshole if you had a guy coming in here producing this kind of art style. They'd be like, dude, you're fucking amateurish. You don't belong here. Why are you in our space? You're fucking childish shit, and you need to be dismissed. You know, Master Panda, that is exactly what he would have said, or they would have said to him, whether it's Comicsgate or any other indie space. You know, they would look at this kind of art style if it was done today and say, "Bro, no, not today, bro, not today." And he did get criticism, and how can I put this? He was fluid with his style, and I think he knew it, and I think he was okay with it. And that's what added to the appeal of it, is how wild it was. But it was absurd, and the absurdity what made it so entertaining to watch. LSD was first invented in 1938. When was this comic published? So this comic was published in the I think 1939, right? I think Stardust was 1939. Let me see. Yeah, 1939. So he started doing his first books was I think Phantoma was his first book. And let me show you Phantoma, guys, because here's Phantoma, this lovely, lovely specimen of a girl who transforms into a skull-faced demon when fighting the bad guys. Phantoma predated Wonder Woman by a few months. Argue about which came first, or who was the first comic book superheroine. Some people say Phantoma was the first, but I believe there was one character before her that came out, one female character that can claim to be the first female superhero or superheroine. Since we live in a time when you can't say superheroine, you can't say actress, because those terms are sexist. We can't approach women and acknowledge their femininity. No, we got to diminish femininity. We got to diminish beauty and diminish what a real woman is. Oh, I'm going off on a tangent. I should slow down. I don't mean to go on a tangent, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I should not. I really should. Let me take a sip of water because I can. Okay. There we go. So, so I think adding to Geek Avenger's point, yes, LSD was first synthesized in 1938. So Fletcher Hanks might have been a willing customer of LSD. So this comic inspired the creation of LSD. Some people would say that it was the other way around. Some people would say LSD inspired this comic. But yeah, Phantoma arguably may have been the first superheroine in comics. And she predated Wonder Woman by a few months. And by the way, she's currently in public domain, so anybody can use her in their comics if they wanted to. But yeah, her power was she lived in the jungle. She was a protector of the jungle. And she would just turn into a skull-faced demon and do all kinds of fucked up things to the bad guys. And that's the thing with Fletcher Hanks, is his characters, his heroes or protagonists, they don't just send your villains to jail. They fuck them up. They will give them trauma. Straight up trauma. A guy from says, I like weird stuff like this. I wouldn't have guessed it was that old. Now they make this style on purpose to make it look vintage. Well, I actually kind of draw similar to this style. Similar, not completely, but if you like this type of weirdness, that's what this is for. RoadWarriorDrake.com. My crowdfunder, my book is currently funding right now on crowdfunder. Enjoying a wonderful run in the last half a year, almost a year. It started off on Fun My Comic, and then it went to Indiegogo, where it was shadow banned, and then ultimately to Kickstarter. Hail Billy Power Max, how's it going? And then now it's here at Crowdfunder. So if you like, and by the way, I uploaded some new art to the Crowdfunder page. So I know I show the same art, but I've uploaded some new stuff on there. So this is one of my new pieces right here. I love this page here. This is Pumpkin War Patch. I am going to add the dialogue here, and it's going to, add more to her character and to what she's reflecting on in the story. There's Toggle the Narc. Here's more Toggle the Narc and his side piece, Cuddle Bunny Becky. So a lot of new characters are going to be introduced in this book. So you like this weird art style, which I absolutely love. I love how this is coming out. And this is the images from the first book. So yeah, if you like this art style, and if you can dig the vintage stuff, you're going to want Be Citizen Road Warrior Drake. Heck, the entire Road Warrior Drake trilogy is going to experiment with a lot of art styles. So get on it. I think you're going to enjoy it. You're going to love it. And my books, by the way, my graphic novels are complete stories. They're not glorified prologues. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So you can rest assured when you back a book, it's going to have a complete story. But when you back RoadWarriorDrake.com, you go in there and you get Be Citizen Road Warrior Drake. If you don't have it, you can also get Street Champion Road Warrior Drake, which is the first graphic novel. There's going to be 3 graphic novels in the entire arc. What you're looking at will be the second one. So I'll talk more about that in a second. But Massive Panda, talking about Phantoma, says, I think she's beautifully illustrated in that title panel. Yeah, a lot of people said that, you look at Phantoma, she's an attractive lady. And I really believe that she's based off of a real person, based on the facial features that Fletcher Hanks drew on her. She's definitely based on a real person. He had a model for her, and she's got that like vintage look too, with the nostrils and the way the eyes are, how he sets apart the eyes. So this is definitely a vintage look, and she's very attractive as a character. Let me see. Let me look at more. We'll go back to Phantoma in a second. I want to share more of this here. Here's another one of Stardust's fucked up punishments, where he takes one of the bad guys and he puts him in some kind of like a let's see, takes him to a frozen space cube, like a prison in space that's frozen. He says, in your frozen condition, you'll live forever to think about your crimes. Enter the ice chamber. So he has a guy living in a frozen state for the rest of his life, eternally. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. It annoys me, says a guy in his room. It annoys me when people assume anyone unique or weird is on drugs, but sometimes it's true. Well, I mean, if you look at some of the greats like Von Bodie, I mean, can you really blame people for thinking that? I want to inspire LSD. No, I don't think you. In light of Arcada's news today, I don't think we want to do that. No, I'd smash is Giga Legend, not the Skulls form. I'd smash too. She's kind of hot. Phantoma, that is. Yeah, I like me some Phantoma. As a matter of fact, let me see. Let me look at some Phantoma images, so we can all perv on her a bit. Yes, I said that. I did say we can do that because this is a man space. We can enjoy, appreciating the beauty of the feminine form because we can. Because why not? Because the comics were made for men, so we can appreciate that and embrace our masculinity, embrace the beauty of the visual images of a lovely and beautiful woman. By the way, the Fletcher Hanks stuff is collected in 2 volumes. It's called You Shall Die by Your Own Evil Creation. That's 1 volume. And the other volume is I Shall Destroy All the Civilized Planets. Both volumes, by the way, are out of print. So if you find the volume, if you find any of these for sale, you're probably going to be spending a lot of money because they're that They're that in demand right now. And I'm glad I picked it up when I did. Because if not, then I would have missed out on it. So let me see here. Let me look at the open image in new tab. Here we go. Okay. There's more Phantoma. There we go. And she's like the guardian of the jungle. Stardust is like the intergalactic guardian. He's a universal protector. Phantoma is a local guardian. She guards the jungle that she lives in. So yeah, there's my crowdfunder. If you want to go and back Beast Citizen Road Warrior Drake, if this inspires you, if this crazy ass artwork and this insane artist inspire you, you're gonna love Beast Citizen Road Warrior Drake. Please go ahead and do it. Guy in the Zoom says I would do it, meaning he'll back it. But I'm a bit of a now. I'm not saying that word. I'm not saying that word. That's racist. Did you do stipple? It looks textured. So I added a filter on. Okay, so I added a filter on the book, on the pages of Beast Citizen Road Warrior Drake, to give it that vintage look. So it really does complement the art a lot better. I think it's a little vintage and it helps separate this world into an escapist world. I really love it. I really love how it's coming out. I'm so proud of this book so far. I'm really digging this book, and I know you will too. So definitely, you should definitely be confident in backing this book, and equally confident in admiring Phantoma. Lady Fairlane says, "Lady, just do too." Yes, we both appreciate a true, beautiful, feminine form. Bear says, "Alas, Matt loves to whack it as much as Drake loves to whack." Drake does not whack. He's asexual. You're so weird, Bear. You're a weirdo. My good friend Kirby is in the chat. He says she looks strong. Well, that's an understatement. She can do all kinds of things, pretty fucked up things. And I'm gonna keep emphasizing that because these characters are pretty fucked up. Oh, here's another fucked up piece right here. Phantoma drops one of the villains onto a group of troglodytes, and they tear the guy apart. Here we go. This is one of the first examples of gore in a comic book in the 30s. Tearing his body apart. I'm not joking when I say what they do to these villains is fucked up. Oh, man. No, hold on. I'm just replying to a message because we had a storm earlier today. So people are just asking me how I'm doing. I'm just reaffirming to people that I'm still alive. Everything's good. But yeah, she drops the villain into a pile of, I call them troglodytes, but they're actually like brainwashed people from the jungle or something. I forgot which story this was. But yeah, she drops it onto them. She drops the villain onto them, and they literally tear his body up. Limbs are flying everywhere. Gore in a 1939 comic. It's beautiful. Massive Panda says, "Yeah, man, I did the great effect on. I need to read that with better nuance. Yeah, man, I dig the great effect you put onto your illustrations. I bet that would be great on some newsprint or a nice matte paper." So when I print my books, Massive Panda, let me pull it up here. Where's my? Oh, here it is. Okay, I got it right here. My hardcover for Beast Citizen Road. Oh, not Beast Citizen. Street Champion Road Warrior Drake. Let me switch cameras here. So I actually, when I do the print interiors, it's a nice, not a glossy finish. I think it's a satin finish. I don't want a gloss because I don't want the light to be too reflective, but it's nice enough that when you read it and you actually see how it's going to look, the grain will actually give it like a nice little newsprint look to it. And I love that newsprint effect because I like the vintage comics like that. And I think it adds a lot of character. Dark Gift in the chat, he says, what's up, peeps? Welcome, Dark Gift. As we continue on the journey of Hector Flanker's really fucked up world here. It's good to brutalize villains, no? See, if you're the kind of person that wants your bad guys thoroughly punished, Fletcher Hanks got you. Because all of his heroes fucked up the bad guys. There was no shortage of retribution to what he did to them. One of the things that I will say with Fletcher, with his art style, and this is my personal knock on him. I mean, just if I can scroll up here to give you an example, was If not, I'll just pull up on one of my pages here. That's why I took the books out so I can show you. Let me see. Oh, here's another nice page of. Is this Phantoma? No, not Phantoma. Yeah, I think that is Phantoma. Yeah. Hold on. I want to show you one example. Oh, here we go. Okay. That's the okay example, but let me show you because when he draws his villains, they all have the same look on their faces. So I want to show you. Let's see what page is this. I'm gonna go back to this one, page 37. Okay, page 37. Remind me of that one, guys. Page 37. Okay, this is a perfect example. So one thing he was not really great at, and I gotta put my camera for this one, was the expression on people's faces. They were very monotone. So here's an example. This particular villain here. I'm not saying so I can see it better. There we go. Okay. So if you look at his facial expressions throughout the page, it's the same. It doesn't really change. So like he'll look the same way. Hold on. Okay. So he looks the same here as he does here. It doesn't change. His expression doesn't change. And this is a Phantoma comic, by the way. And when he gets captured here, same expression. Like it doesn't really change. Like there'll be a panel too where it will change, but for the most part, they don't change expression. I will say it's actually kind of annoying. That is to me one of his bigger shortcomings as an artist is he didn't really experiment, at least with these early comics. He didn't experiment with facial expression. So the characters, especially the villains, always have the same. Here, here's another example. So look at this guys right here, right? You see them right here, especially the guy in the green. Same expression on these two pages, and then next page, same thing. See, same expression. So he never really experiments with facial expressions, and I'm not sure if it's because he didn't trust himself to do it or what, but that was to me one of his bigger shortcomings as an artist. Giga Vince says, hey, the original Johnny Quest was great because the bad guys would usually get Minecrafted. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta do a little finite justice, you know? There's been an argument made that Batman was just as responsible for a lot of the damage in Gotham and a lot of people losing their lives because those villains he keeps arresting gets put back out into the streets. And he could have just did the thing and, you know, Minecrafted them. We're missing these weird kinds of comics as Felsbug. Well, that is why I am doing Beast Citizen Road Warrior Drake Felsbug. To bring the weirdness back into comics. And that is what I'm trying to replicate. Some weirdness, some insanity, and a good old-fashioned, lovely storytelling. Because it isn't just about the pretty pictures. It's about telling a story. It's about giving your readers an investment. And yes, I think Fletcher Hank's stuff is very worthy of investment because you read the stories, and the stories are simplistic. Make no mistake, the stories that he puts out are simplistic and don't really offer much in the way of thought-provoking themes. It's really as simple as good guy fucks up. So every story is bad guy has a scheme to destroy the world. Tons of airplanes are employed. Bombs are tossed into the cities. And then Stardust comes and fucks them up. The end. Same thing with Phantoma. Phantoma, similar stories. There's actually another character called, what's it? Big Red McLean. So Big Red McLean was, and this is his thing. So Big Red McLean's whole thing is he's a lumberjack who just gets into fight with other lumberjacks. That's it. It's just that's all it is. It's a Popeye story set in the woods, and they just fight, and he beats the shit out of them. This is the only character with the only stories where nothing really fucked up happens to the antagonists. They fight Big Red fucks them up, and then they walk away to tell their tale for another day. So these are the only stories where the bad guys really don't die. They just they get beat up. They don't get fucked up like what Stardust does, but they get beat up. So, KSS says, my good friend KSS, stop being critical of Fletcher Hanks. He died homeless and penniless on a park bench at age 86. He's been through it enough. I'm not critiquing. I like Fletcher Hanks, KSS. I do. And he's one of the guys that really made me want to do these weekly series. Because believe it or not, there are some people, a lot of people that think this kind of style was never a part of comics and shouldn't be celebrated. And I'm like, no, this is a big part of comic history. And Fletcher Hanks himself was the innovator. Again, you look at as I showed you, the early Batman comics, where they don't do much in terms of like, panel, the artwork, backgrounds and panels. That didn't happen until going to the 40s, but Fletcher Hanks was one of the first to do it and do it consistently. Look at Alas Matt's Fupa. Fix your Fupa live. I don't know what you're talking about, KSS. I don't know what you're talking about. Dark Gift says, hey, why am I reading this? When people say hi to each other, I don't got to read it. He's a lumberjack and he's okay, says Geek Avenger. Show me a YouTube link. A link to what I don't know, but I do know that 21 beautiful people are watching this on YouTube, and there's more watching this on Twitter. So we are reaching people, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching us so far. I think we are definitely being in what's the word? We are truly invested and we're truly edified by this content for sure. Here's some more Phantoma. Yeah, she does this. So Phantoma, one of her powers is her head in skull form separates from her body and it'll fly on its own, and she'll scare the bejesus out of the villains. I'm telling you, Fletcher Hanks didn't really care about consistency in terms of his character's abilities. It was all plot device. It was, if I can make him do it, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Like Stardust had all kinds of powers that he could do that the plot called for. Well, thank you for remembering, KSS. Thank you for remembering my birthday. I thought for a second you were off the wagon, but I appreciate it. My old school comic is called Peanut Head Elasmat Steak Eating Champion. I'm hoping to sell it back in number 486 one day. Well, if you do, KSS, please do not refund him. Do not refund him. But yes, definitely do it. Absolutely do it. So, but yeah, so he gave all his characters convenient skills when the plot called for it. No explanation needed. No science provided. It's just, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Just fuck it, I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I talked about the way he incorporates text into the panels and how it seems like it's part of the image. So your eyes have a lot to do when they inspect the pages. They look at each panel and just travel the length of the page. Because one of my pet peeves, especially today in comics, because we forget that comics is a storytelling medium. It's not just about pretty pictures. You're ultimately expected to tell a story when you pick up a comic. But one of my pet peeves is you'll see a nice splash page, or you'll see like 2 or 3 big panels and very little text, and you'll spend like a few seconds looking at the page and moving forward. And meanwhile, like the person that drew that page probably spent hours drawing that page, only for you to look at it for a couple seconds. And I'm going to make a very controversial statement. And yes, you could attach my name to this. It's better to have mid art and good story than great art and a shit story. Because mid art and a good story makes the comic book memorable. Whereas great art and a shit story makes the comic book disposable. Let me repeat that. Mid art, good story, comic is memorable. Great art, shit story, comic is disposable. What do you guys in the chat think about that? I want to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah, I'll take a comic book with mid art and great story over great art and shit story. Guy in the room says he agrees. I'll give you an example of that. And I'll talk a little bit about it right now because I was gonna do a stream on this guy, but I don't know. I'm debating it. I'm debating it because he's unfortunately one of those liberals that's really like very unhinged. I went on his Twitter page. I'm talking about Scott McCloud, and you know McCloud is a influential person in comics, but his views is he's got some weird views. You go on his Twitter, he's just like a anyway. But I got his graphic novel, The Sculptor, and I like the artwork. I like the style of it. I really do. I like the blues. The blues is kind of what inspired me to do Road Warrior Drake, B Citizen Road Warrior Drake with the blue and gray tint. Minimalist, but he does a lot of great work on the backgrounds and so forth. This kind of art style is okay compared to others, but the story behind this book, to me, elevates the art style, and this book is times better than a lot of the books that came out of the indie sphere, especially in the Comicsgate sphere. So I will take this book over many of the Comicsgate books that came out because it tells a good story, and along with the art being serviceable, it's a complete experience. I want my books to be complete experiences. So if you're just focusing on good art, quote unquote, and your story sucks, your book is disposable. That is, and I say that as a fan, as a comic book fan. I say this as a person that buys comics, that backs comics. You know, I don't just create comics, I've also backed comics too. So I can say this. If your book is pretty art, no story, or pretty art, incomplete story, it's probably not a good book. I'm going to say it's a shit book. But I spent hours drawing it. Okay, but did you forget to tell the story? Because if not, just buy an art book or create an art book and sell it as the art book. But don't sell that as a comic book and then you leave me hanging with a partial story. That makes me feel ripped off. I'm going slightly on a rant here, but this is a great opportunity to do this because as we look at Fletcher Hanks' stuff, Fletcher Hanks' stories are not groundbreaking. They're not thought-provoking. They're not complex or anything. They're simplistic stories, but they're satisfying because it is what it is. It's good guys fucking up bad guys, the end. And they're silly. And the artwork is silly, but it services the story and it services the world that Fletcher Hanks is creating, which is a insane world inspired by LSD. So, yes, the severed head right there. Sorry, this guy was bonkers. Here's more Phantoma. Actually, I will enlarge it for you guys. There you go. Some beautiful Phantoma. Enjoy. Guy in Zoom says, I'm more into the story now. Was more into detail as a kid. Story is important in comics. Listen, it's a comic book. That means you got to tell the story because comics are a storytelling medium. Everybody else, Cthulhu says, controversial, but fair opinion. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind being the guy that takes that opinion because, and I'll tell you a story here. When I joined Comicsgate back in 2018, and I saw the potential of what the movement could have been. You know, I envisioned a movement where Cyberfrog and Earthworm Jim and Lone Star and Brutus the Badass, these were the new characters that would permeate the indie comic scene, and we would be inundated with stories and arcs and crossovers. Of course, that didn't happen, but that's my lamentation on where CG is headed. However, what I didn't expect was the absolute ignorance of many of the people in the comic space, especially in CG, that and more from creators than anything, not so much the fans, but the creators who thumbed their nose on anything that didn't look like a 90s Image comic. And, you know, I never pretended to be anything other than a guy that was influenced by the underground comics movement of the 80s. You know, like people like who was it? My mind is going. I think my mind is going, but people like who was it? It was at not Mark Bodie. Was it? It was Gary Panther. Yes, Gary Panther, the guy I did last week. He was one of the pioneers of the American Underground Comics movement. Oh, that's with an X. COMIXX comics movement. Edgy style comics with wacky violence and crazy styles. I was inspired by that movement. I was inspired by the insanity and craziness of what those books did, and I wanted to kind of carry that over into this generation and be one of the ones that did it. But many in Comicsgate or in other indie spheres didn't really see that. They didn't really respond well to that, and I was shocked because I never said I was comparable to some of the best. I was just my own person and my own creator, and the criticism, some of it was fair. Don't get me wrong. Some of the criticism was fair because I am evolving as an artist, and you should always seek to evolve, always seek to be better. But this insistence that, it doesn't belong because it doesn't look like Rob Liefeld or Jim Lee drew it. I'm like, well, that's a very stupid position to take. That's actually a brain dead, self-deleting position to take. And by self-deleting, I mean, a way to destroy the underground comic movement is to restrict certain art styles and stories and characters because it doesn't fit your, i.e. the creator, view of what a good comic is. And honestly, it's not about what a creator thinks a comic should be. It's what the fans, the readers, the market thinks a creator's comic should be or how good a comic is. The market decides that. And I get annoyed, absolutely annoyed when creators are like, well, that comic looks like shit. I'm like, buddy, that's not your call. That's the readers and the fans to decide if a comic book gets to have its place in the annals of legend, in the annals of comic history. Creators don't decide that. A creator can decide it for his own stuff if he acquiesces a product that meets the demands of the market or a market that is yearning for that kind of product. But other creators can offer their opinion, but their opinion ultimately doesn't matter. What matters is the opinions of the people that buy the book or read the book and make that book a legend. A guy in the gym says, I agree, except when the art is minimal and the story is trash. Okay, so yeah, if you have minimal art and trash story, yes, absolutely disposable too. So let me co-sign with you on that one, the guy in his room. So if your book has great art and a shit story, or minimalist art and a shit story, both of them belong in the trash. 100%. 100%. Yes. He had a real thing about heads. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like with the heads, it was severing the bad guy's heads or Phantoma's skull head detaching from her body. I'm telling you, he was insane. And this kind of stuff, this predated. Here's the thing with the violence and the ghoulishness of the visuals is it predated the Vault of Horror, Tales from the Crypt, the EC Comics library. This predated it by about 20 years. So it's amazing how, again, comic book history, this is the kind of stuff that gets ignored in our modern zeitgeist because our image our knowledge of comics only goes back a certain decade. And I'm saying, no, we have to go further back, at least 100 years. That's what my streams do. We go back 100 years, and we get to see some of the earlier stuff and how influential it is. Like Phantoma's body is pretty influential. So, okay, it says this, I wasn't inspired by Image comic of the 90s. I was inspired by I didn't say that. I was inspired by beyond that. I go back to the Eastman and Laird, the Charles Schultz's, R. Crumb. I said that multiple times, Kaz. I made that point very clear. I was just looking for the term because sometimes I forget things. But like I said, we looked at Gary Panter's stuff last week. The term for that specific genre of comics was American Underground Comics, which was characterized by its crazy violence and funky styles. Not just, here's the thing, Gunner, believe it or not, EVS actually liked my book. he's talked about it quite a couple of times, and I'll even show a clip right now. He actually liked, because when I gave him a copy, so when I met Ethan Van Sciver at the Garden State Fest last year, it's funny because I was going to his table and I was just expecting to buy, the Cyberfrog books and and that was it, and maybe say hi to him. But he said hi to me first. He called me out before I came to the table. He's like, "Hey, Elasmat," like he recognized me. He totally knew who I was. It was great. So I gave him a copy of Street Champion Road Warrior Drake, and the first thing he says to me when I gave it to him was, "This reminds me of the books I used to read as a kid." Like he figured it out. Like he got it. It's like, yeah, he understood it. It's that funky book that you probably read as a kid that it got passed around. Maybe you were lucky to find it in some smoke shop somewhere in downtown Manhattan. He got it. Like it's like, wow, yeah, he absolutely got it. This was him a couple weeks back in his art auction stream, and my character gets brought up, and look what he says.
It looks like a cool Disney character, Road Warrior Drake. I have the book. I read some of it. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I like Azamat. I like him.
Yeah, I like him as a person. I wasn't sure about his comics, but his comics are really good. They're fun to read.
Yeah, they're pretty funny.
You want more Adventures of the Street Champion? Check out RoadWarriorDrake.com. You want to.
Yeah, I was totally not expecting that. It was actually like, wow, that's awesome. And then a week later, Wiggle does this.
Well, did he get shrunk?
I was thinking more Pix did, but
Dude, I got questions. Whoa, what is going on here?
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
It's like
That actually looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, people are waking up to Road Warrior Drake. They are waking up to what I'm bringing into the comic sphere. So, it's cool he liked you at the time, but I think he changed his mind on women, guaranteed. Well, I mean, look, if it happens, it happens. But I'm not changing. I am who I am. I came into the sphere, into the CG sphere, with a plan, with a vision, and my vision has expanded. And I really love the work I'm doing on Beastless and Road Warrior Drake. It's looking great. I can't wait to get this book printed and shipped out to the backers as soon as possible because I want you guys to have this book. It's a great addition to your library along with Street Champion Road Warrior Drake. If you even go on a stream with a Dungeoneers, I'll turn on you. Well, I mean, if it happens, it happens, but I'll go whoever. I will go. KSS says, it's true. Ethan has said Elasmat's book was good. He knows Elasmat is stylized and consistent. He was so impressed he bought Elasmat a steak. Yes, yeah, that's exactly what happened. We'll go with that story. He liked my book so much, he bought me a steak. The steak that I finished. But Dark Gift, no. Dark Gift had to be forced. Like Graham Nolan and Billy Tuesday to finish his steak. His name Grateful Vegan Prude. But not me. I love my steak. So but we're still gonna go at it at the Garden State this year. I am who I am. So that's the name of so I am who I am. That's actually the name of the EC Seeker Volume 1 Popeye, which I'll probably do in 2 weeks. I think I'll do Basil Overton next week. And then I'll do Easy Seeger the following week. The first panel, says Cases, was beat off rope. Wait, what? I'm not reading that. How dare you? How dare you? Dargis says, I'm cooking steak as we speak. Receipts or it didn't happen. Receipts or it didn't happen. By the way, I've cooked my own steak too, and I've done it restaurant style. There's a way to cook steak restaurant style. It involves cooking it. You got to get a skillet. You cook it on each side for about 3 minutes, especially if you want it medium rare. Cook it on each side for 3 minutes on a skillet, and then put it in the oven for like 5 minutes. And then you take it out, put some butter on it, put aluminum foil, let it rest for a bit, and there, you got restaurant-style steak. It took me a couple times to perfect it, but I finally got it, seasoned it perfectly, and I make some great steak. One day I'm going to stream myself cooking a 60-ounce steak just to spite Dark Gift. So he doesn't think I can do it. I can do it. I can definitely do it. Fiona Wolf says, to be blunt, Drake does stand out more so than most of the CG due to the style and character types. I still see most of the CG as 90s image ripoff. Well, you know what? That's great that it stands out because of that. And I don't mind it. I don't mind that it stands out like that. And whether people like it or they hate it, I don't mind it because it stands out and people talk about it. And my book, for better or for worse, is one of the only few CG books that gets talked about consistently on the forums. So Take it for what it's worth. Cooking a steak, a tube steak. Hey, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Okay. I hope you'll cut it up in small bite-sized pieces so that the size doesn't scare you. Yeah, I hope so too. I really hope so too. So, Mazapan agrees with Fiona Wolf's statement about most of CG books looking like their 90s Image comics. Look, there's a lot of beautiful looking books in Comicsgate. A lot of them. But I go back to my earlier point. If it's just about the art and not the story, then what are you producing? You're producing something disposable. You gotta have the story. Here are some other villains in this is what story is this one? This is Fletcher Hanks' Buck Rogers ripoff. What's the character here? This is hold on, let me look it up in my book. What's the character's name here? Let's see here. I think it's like space something. Space something. Oh boy. But I got to reread these books again because they're a fun read, they're a brisk read, and man, that's a great way to kill time. And here we go. Okay, Space Smith. That's what this is. Space Smith. This is Fletcher Hanks's Buck Rogers ripoff. Space Smith. You know what's funny is that the lizards here, they have the same expression as the villains in my other panels that I showed you. Yeah, this thing, he wasn't great with like facial expressions. Of course, here it doesn't matter because they're all just one eyes in the middle of the chest. Bizarre, absolutely bizarre. He just created some really fucking bizarre shit, and I loved it. Just take chances. Don't be boring. Lady Fairlane says, "I love tube steak." Oh, I bet you do, Lady Fairlane. I bet you do. Let me stop. It's because CG is a retirement home to Student of God. Throwing shade there. Welcome, Student of God. Thanks for your contribution to the internet. I love what I'm seeing. KSS has confirmed that is indeed how you cook a steak restaurant style, referring to what I said. If you want the real restaurant experience, drop the steak on the kitchen floor before serving. I worked food and beverage 26 years ago. Well, that's not comforting at all. So, retirement home for the mostly creative anti-hero. Yeah, I do gotta admit the anti-hero stuff is kind of wearing out. So words are hard, folks, says Lord Drop of Jesus. Yes, telling a good story is hard. And creating a beautiful marriage between words and text is hard. So, but I stress, again, I will stress, mid-art and good story is a worthwhile book. Space Dust. That's what it can start as is a cosmic character. So, yeah, but this is his Buck Rogers ripoff, Space Myth. See that expression right there? He does that a lot. The villains have the same expression. They don't really change. Like whether they're mad or they're afraid, they look like this the whole time. So I'll say that there's one major flaw as an artist. Not the weirdness of like the villains having their bodies squeezed by Stardust hands, literally, but just the fact that the facial expressions on these characters don't really change with panel to panel. It is a drawback, especially when you're telling a story. It takes you out of it because it's almost like it doesn't move as the plot moves. It's mostly an American hang-up too, says Fiona Wolf. Yeah, that is a Western thing for sure, because you don't get that problem with manga, and there's a reason why manga is getting popular, or not getting, it is popular. And American comics have forgotten that. I did a video yesterday that I uploaded for this morning, talking about the Eisner Awards nominating Ed Piskor and the potential, the possibility of him winning and what it could mean. But I go into a little bit about why American comics are failing and why manga is succeeding. It's because they're not reaching the younger generation. All this anti-hero crap is really just not reaching the younger people. They want more upbeat stuff, more escapist stuff, just having fun. The stories have to be fun. A guy in his room says, it's weird about the expressions because you can't say he copy and pasted. Maybe traced. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think he traced it. I mean, look, if you trace your own stuff, it's what it is. You got to do. Okay, so here's my thing, and it's a little controversial, and I got to be careful how I do this or how I say this. But when you tell the story visually, draw however you got to draw it to help tell the story. So if it means you got to trace or borrow a background, as far as I'm concerned, if it's your artwork, you can do whatever you want with it in the comic medium. That's just me, though. Some people may think differently. That's fine. But yeah, I think he just traced it, which I don't know why he did that. He could add some variety to the designs, but looks almost like medieval artworks. Says Helmet. He probably was inspired by that, for sure. I absolutely think he was. Roach dusted steak, says guy in his room. No, I will not toss my steak to the floor. I don't care how they do it in the restaurant. I want to keep it clean. Which one was Stardust? The Space Wizard. Oh, it's the guy with the blue, the one that was squeezing the villains and severing their heads. This is him right here. That's Stardust right there. Let me show you another picture of him. Let's see. That's him, of course, over here issuing more punishment, more ultimate punishment. Here he is. That's Stardust literally squeezing one of the villains. So, Student of God says, I'm reading the new CG black and white comic, and it's literally the old comic remade. I wonder why the remake it. It's basically the same story. Wait, which story is this? Which comic is this? I think I missed a comment here, but which black and white? But yeah, my point still stands. If it's not a complete story, and I'll say this: if you're going to release books like every 2 years or whatever, make the books complete stories, so that way you reward the backer or you reward the customer's investment with something satisfying. That's just my opinion. So I feel like you should do that. Let me scroll a little bit. That old bald guy, says, has tiny ears that are shaped like a last man. I am not reading the rest of that comment. How dare you, Kansas? I thought you were my friend. Well, you're not my friend, but still, I'm a talk like yours, my friends. I can say or question your allegiance to me. Because, Master Panda says, fun stories. Why would I do that when I could do the millionth depressing, dark, decompressed, deconstructed, wannabe Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, Grant Morrison story? I know, right? How dare we have fun in comics or create a fun story? How dare we do that, right? How dare we take a chance and just say, hey, let's just create something wacky and insane and offer a very fulfilling story. And by fulfilling, I mean beginning, middle, and an end. None of this glorified prologue shit. Just a beginning, a middle, and an end. And one of the things that you'll get when you read these Fletcher Hank stories is each story they're not interconnected. They're their own separate stories. So you'll get a beginning, middle, and an end. And like I said, nothing earth-shattering, nothing thought-provoking or complex. It's literally just the hero beating the shit out of the bad guys and sometimes killing the bad guys. Very fulfilling stuff. Image comic black and white. He is CG King. Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay. Image comic black and white. He is CG King. Okay. Well, I don't watch CG King, so I didn't know. But anyway, let me drink some water here. I need a drink of water. And while I do that, let me play this. I didn't play this thing, a little intro by Akira Kurosawa on writing while I drink some water. Let's watch this, and you tell me what you guys think. This is from Akira Kurosawa, legendary filmmaker, on the skill of writing.
一日黙って朝から座って少なくともね2,3枚は書けるよ。どうあれしたって、それ積み重ねてきゃね何百枚になるわけでしょ。でそのコツがね分からないんだと思うんですよ。すぐ最初お芝居が早くそこ行きたいと思ったりするからね。だから山へ登る時にね一番先に言われるのは頂上を見るなって言うんですよ。足元を見て歩けってみんなそうよ。であれコツコツコツコツ上がっていくうちに 上行くんでね、こう上見てたらねくたびれちゃって、それと同じじゃないかしらね。だからやっぱり書くためにはそれに慣れることだし、そういう苦痛であることを苦痛でないように、それがもう習い性になるように努力しなきゃなんないしね。どうもね大抵投げ出しちゃうんだよね。でね
I just thought that was a very good tip from one of the greats in filmmaking. Okay, so Holmes clarified R.T. Bear. Okay, that's who you read. Okay, Student of God talking about R.T. Bear. Okay, yeah, I like I said, I don't watch the CG Kings, but I mean, look, I mean that's fine. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, as long as the book is good, as long as the book is good, so it's fine. You know, I don't have a problem with that. You know, part of me thought about doing at some point after I've done all 3 books of the Road Warrior Drake saga, redoing Street Champion Road Warrior Drake and redoing the art. But then I'm like, no, because if I redid the art in that book, I'm changing history. And I think the progression of the art from Street Champion Road Warrior Drake to B Citizen Road Warrior Drake is part of the story of Road Warrior Drake. And the story of the making of the book and the criticism that I got that led to B Citizen Road Warrior Drake is very much part of the story as what's being told in the pages of the books. So I'm okay with not redoing or remastering the art. It's going to tell its own story and be a part of the history that it currently inhabits. So, you know, Master Panda says, don't get me wrong, those guys have done legendary work, but everybody and their mom is trying to recreate the Watchmen now. How many times do we have to read another second string Watchmen? Yeah, I mean, it was an influential story, although I'll be honest, I couldn't read all of it. I couldn't get through it. To me, and this is a controversial take. This is just my opinion. So I'm not saying this as any declarative statement. This is my opinion. It was a chore reading Watchmen, and I just couldn't get through to it. It was way too wordy for me, and it was slow. I couldn't, it didn't grab me. It's any wonder that Zack Snyder's movie got me invested, but I felt like you know what it is? I think because people expected a superhero comic and they didn't get that, and it was intriguing because it was different for its time. They took the concept of the Fantastic, that they took the theme or the tone of the Fantastic Four, of the early Stan Lee Fantastic Four stories, and went nuclear with it. And what I mean by that is when Stan Lee did Fantastic Four, it was meant to be a different type of superhero comic in that they introduced internal conflicts within the characters. So it wasn't just good guys fighting bad guys. It was good guys having disagreements, and sometimes it created friction between them before they went and fought the bad guys. So it was, in a way, the Fantastic Four was, in its own way, a deconstruction of the early superhero comics, but they maintained the superhero aspect. Whereas Watchmen was just pure deconstructionism, and there was no likable characters, with the exception of Rorschach. KSS says, I have the interview of Kurosawa, this one of my Kurosawa DVDs. I'm gonna change the subtitles to read, "My son is the Quaff, and he shamed me for years, but now I can't help but admit I love my gay son." Well, this is great. The Quaff's come out. I'm happy for him. He's a brave man. Lady Fairlane reflecting on Kurosawa's words. She says, "What wise words? I needed to hear that." Yes. Fiona Wolf says, or another Game of Thrones wannabe, or another Invincible. We have forgotten actual variety. Because here's the thing, and I think this even goes back to like Batman. When Batman came out, they wanted to be like Batman, and they wanted trying to produce darker superhero movies, but they didn't have the budget back then, so hence they didn't go full force with it. But when the movie Scream, deconstructed the horror genre, the studio said, "Oh, we got to make more movies like Scream." So it became a parody of its own self when they started making sequels. And then you had spin-offs, rip-offs like I Know What You Did Last Summer, and things like other movies like that. I don't even know the name of the other movies, but When something deconstructs a genre, it becomes a genre unto itself, and then people get tired of it. So yeah, I'm the same way. Sunglasses at night. He says, Watchmen would have been better if Moore kept his mouth shut. He made it worse by beating the industry into the ground. I guess I'm the wrong guy for it because like I said, I couldn't get through the whole thing. It lost me. At some point, I'm like, okay, man, you got to go somewhere with the story. It's just way too wordy. Wait, why are you blaming me, Jabba? I tried to help Nick Arcada. I tried. He wouldn't listen to me. Why are you coming at me with this? I tried, Jabba. I really did. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I didn't supply him I mean, Jabba. I wish him well. And I will be praying for his soul. And I will pray he gets better. Thank you, Jabba. Thank you. Student God says that's true about Watchmen, but it had major payoffs though. Yeah, I'm sure it did. Listen, I'm not saying it's a bad book. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it from my opinion. I couldn't get through some of it. It just I stopped reading after a while. I'm sure it's a good book. I just didn't get through it. Maybe one day I'll sit back and say, okay, you know what? Stop being a fag and just start from page 1 and read it again. Maybe you just have to be in a different mindset. So I mean, it stood the test of time for a reason. People regard it for a reason. So you have the blood of Nick. I don't mean to. I mean, no, this is not true, John. Nick Arcada is responsible for himself, and he must answer to a holy God. And I will pray for him. Thank you. Guy in his room says, I think Marvel movies became a parody of themselves. Just lame jokes, no substance. So there was a Midnight's Edge did a great video series on the history of the MCU, and because there's a book out about the MCU that's authorized by the MCU, which means it's pro Kevin Feige, but Midnight's Edge, they really added a lot of stuff onto it and did their homework. A lot of the good MCU stuff going as far, well, not as far, but from like Iron Man to Infinity War, a lot of that was laid out under the guise or the direction of Ike Perlmutter. So the best of the MCU was actually Ike Perlmutter's blueprint and architecture. And even when he was removed, they were still going with his blueprint, which is why you were still getting some good MCU movies. But everything that's shit about the MCU since is all 100% Kevin Feige. And unfortunately, guys like me didn't really see that until it's too late. That, oh wow, here we were thinking that he was the mastermind behind how good the MCU was, and it was really Ike Perlmutter. And we should have seen it because Ike Perlmutter was he was the one that was in charge of the Netflix division of the MCU, and Daredevil was one of the best of the MCU. That was Perlmutter. But that's a whole other conversation. Giga Avenger says, Tatiana, Squeaky wants to know why you picked the dragon for your profile pic. Yeah, that's a good question. Why is the dragon your profile pic, Fiona? That's a good question. Guidance Rim says, it's basically Gen Z humor, or maybe younger millennial humor, fourth wall breaking, and ironic humor. Yes. KSS, I'm making a movie about a last mat. Luis Guzman, you picked one of the ugliest spics to play me, KSS? Why? I thought we were good buddies. I thought you was my friend. Luis Guzman is a fucking troglodyte. I'm fucking Chris Evans compared to Luis Guzman. I'm not reading this in a comment. That's embarrassing. How dare you, KSS? I'm offended. I'm offended. Guy in Jim says, Jabba, I don't think that's the hub Nick at all. So it's you we have to blame. I agree with the statement 100%. We should blame Jabba for everything. Let's blame Jabba because we have no proof. But still, I don't care. I want to blame him. Dark Gift says the first and fifth Screams are really good. The sixth was good. The third was horrible. The fourth had moments. Right? It has its fans. I get it. Scream has its fans. I'm not one of them. So I can't, I don't know. Lord Raptor reminding people that after the stream, we're going to head over to his channel for his 10 o'clock Nick Arcada rundown because we can. I'm letting Nick Rekieta drive himself to rehab right now, says Jabba. What a good man Jabba is. No, he's not. He's slashing the tires as we speak. I have receipts. Fiona says, regarding the Dragon profile pic, it's because I am a derp most of the time, so the derp dragon face works best for me. So it says Fiona Wolf. So there you go. She's into the derp lifestyle. There's 6 fucking screens. I know, to me that's 6 too many. Or 5, because the first one on its own, by itself, would have been, to me, legendary. But those sequels kind of ruined it. So the reaction videos to Elasmat Attacks Watchmen would be funny. I would like to see that. I'll definitely see that. People reacted to me saying Watchmen is... I couldn't get into Watchmen. I will give it a fair shake. I'm not saying it's a bad book at all. I will give it a fair shake. My initial time reading it, I couldn't get through all of it. It was just it just dragged for me. But I will try. Guy in the room says, well, then again, there's 800 Saw movies too. Yeah, there's a lot of those. I don't even know where to begin, and I probably just don't even care. KSS continues. I enjoyed the Watchmen comic, and I've noticed a lot of people in the last 10 years say, controversial take. I didn't like the Watchmen. Fine. I'm the only one who did. Well, fine, be that way. Daredevil was so awesome. Yeah, it was a great Netflix show and a great addition to the MCU, but of course, due to legal issues, they couldn't acknowledge it in the main MCU canon, so just kind of stupid. It's dumb, but then again, the whole TV side of the MCU was pretty stupid. Because outside of Daredevil, the whole TV side was pretty stupid. Like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was kind of stupid. Because a lot of shit happened in that show, and it was never acknowledged in the MCU, the movies division. So it's like, what was the point? It's like an Elseworlds thing. No, he's hideous. Luis Guzman is a troglodyte. Like if you really want to make a movie about cavemen, just cast Luis Guzman because you don't need makeup. He looks like a fucking caveman. Him and Ron Perlman. Cast those two as cavemen, and you'll never have to apply makeup because they look exactly like fucking troglodytes. The two of them. Let's see here. Scroll down more in the chat. Do you ever show your book? Oh yeah, I did it before. I still have my page open. See, look. It's still here, and you can get this and the first book, Street Champion Road Warrior Drake. And I uploaded new pages here, so you can see some of the new pages that I uploaded for the comic. Stylized, play with a lot of angles. So yeah, there you go. One of my favorite panels with the bat creature that's in the story. So yes, as to your question, I definitely shill. Absolute shill. Sunglasses is making a very loud declaration. He says, Deadpool Wolverine will fail miserably. Copy of Spider-Man No Way Home on meth. Tired of the multiverse of member berries. BS. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with the story on that one, but it's supposed to reset the MCU, which I'm all for. It's time to reset it and get rid of a lot of the characters they're trying to force down our throats, like Ms. Marvel and Shang-Chi. All these boring bland characters, and get rid of the this fake Captain America, because I like Falcon as a character, but they shouldn't have given him the Captain America title. You just sat there and watched Nick. I didn't mean to. He's not dead though. Wait, Nick is still alive. See, now I know you're not telling the truth, because Nick is still alive. He's only arrested, and he's only facing 5 years for illegal possession of drugs and firearms and being intoxicated while possessing firearms. They really effed up Iron Fist. The actor they picked had no martial training, and it showed. Yeah, that show set everything. I think that show is what killed the Defenders crossover show. Aside from the fact that none of the characters outside of Daredevil looked comic book accurate, and even the Daredevil, the reunion, the Defender stuff that they were showing, none of them were in their outfit. They were all like in straight clothes, and it just looked visually boring. It's like you made a separate universe in the TV side of the MCU with Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist. And outside of Daredevil, none of the characters are toyetic looking. And then when you bring them onto the Defenders show, none of them are toyetic, and they're all gathered together. And it's like, well, what am I watching? It's this group of actors doing full pop fight scenes. It's not like the Avengers, where the great shot of the Avengers where they're all in costume and they're in New York City and they're facing the Chitauri, and you get the camera panning to show all the members from Iron Man and Thor, Captain America, and the Hulk, and they're all like visually toyetic and appealing. It's like it was a great moment. That was a wonderful culmination of all the movies they made and produced prior to the Avengers, leading up to the Avengers. The Defenders didn't do that. They totally did have that scene and that moment, which is why it just sucked. It absolutely sucked. Who do I want to play me in a movie? How about Chris Evans? Chris Evans will totally play me in the movie. So, Howard Hat Studios shilling my link. That's right, folks. Shilling my link. That is the crowdfunder to be Citizen Road Warrior Drake. What are the odds that I got it back? Let's see. Probably not good odds, but still, you don't even want this book, and I will continue doing your streams to drill it in your head. However, if you don't want to back the book, but you want to offer me some coffee money, I did put my PayPal link in the pin message. So if you want to throw me $1 or $2, it's fine. I'll take a coffee. I don't want Vin Diesel. Oh, as me? Oh yeah, well, young Vin Diesel, because old Vin Diesel's is kind of getting. He's releasing. So, who's Alejandro? I'm not Alejandro. And I don't do Mallet book. I do B Citizen books. And as you can see, I'm still working on it. And I'm offering updates. And I uploaded new pages here. So this is one of my favorites. I love this page a lot. So Geek Avenger offering intercession for Nick Rekieta. Jabba says, no, Nick is DED. Sider told me. Well, Sider is a wonderful journalist. So, but still, Nick Rekieta is just facing jail time. Edward James almost is playing Last Man's father, Tuco. That would totally work for sure. But I don't want Luis Guzman playing me. Please don't do that to me. Jackie Earl Haley as Rorschach was the only good thing in Watchmen. Yeah, he was. Rorschach was a good character in the movie as well as in the book. And I will try to sit down and read the book and give it its fair shake. So I'm not going to say it's a bad book. It's just I just couldn't get through it the first time. But I will read it and give it its fair shake. There's a reason why it stood the test of time. At least as far as here we are talking about it, 40 years later? 35, I think. 35 years later. Massive Panda says, that's one of the problems I had with the original X-Men movies. They went with the all-black Hispanics wannabe Matrix outfits. Literally no interesting costumes at all. It was boring to look at. Yeah, the whole black aesthetic was boring as fuck. I think they did a worse job of it with X2. And here's a controversial take. I wasn't a big fan of X2. Like, I know people liked it, but I still found the first X-Men better than X2. Myself, personally. So, I've had a slew of controversial takes today. I want to be canceled so fast in the comic industry. In this movement. I'm going to be canceled real fast. What? He didn't Watchmen? X2 not as good as X1? Oh, yeah, we're canceling him for sure. No, I'm a Hawk, but Chris Evans can play me, though, because he can. It's in production, and you got to get it. My goal is to have the book ready for delivery by December, but I'll know either in June if that will happen, only because my goal is to have the first draft completed in June, but it may or may not happen, so if it doesn't happen in June, it'll be in August. First draft of the book will be completed in August, and then I'm going to have an editor look it up, and then do some revisions. And then my plan is to have the revisions done and ready for printing by October. And then it'll be hopefully ready for shipping by December. That's the plan. So I will keep you updated. Alazajandro. I can't believe I was able to read that. I'm very impressed by that. No, that is not a cool name. Stop encouraging the racists in the chat. I have a name, and that's not Alejandro. Okay, I'm not Alejandro. Stop it. Please. With my bogus hot takes, he's just testing out clickbait. Maybe I am. I can do that. I'm allowed. Because I'll do this to you. Fiona says the only thing Zack Snyder is decent at is adapting items like 300 or Watchmen because it's already on a visual setup and his themes are he actually enjoys. Why DC gave Superman to that idiot, I'll never understand. I think they misread Snyder's style. They looked at what he was able to do with Watchmen and figured, oh, he knows the comic. He knows how to adapt it, so we can trust him with Superman. I don't think they realized that he's a one-trick pony. I'm going to piss off the Snyder Bros. I'm gonna do it. He's a one-trick pony. So they definitely misfired giving him the first Superman film in the DCEU. Man of Steel is definitely a chore to watch now, for sure. I watched it in the theater and I was like, I think I lied to myself and I said, I think it's good. I think I could get behind it. But after a while, I'm like, you know what? It really wasn't good. It wasn't Superman. It didn't feel like a Superman movie. Jabba says, I think Nick Rekieta looks better than the X2 and oh no, you know what? You're probably right. I can't disagree with you on that one. I really hated the black in the X-Men movie, so yeah, you're probably right. And when I say black, I mean the costumes, not the people. So I don't want anybody saying, "Oh, Elasma hated the blacks in the X-Men." No, the black costumes. The black costumes. People say Elasma is the Pearl Davis of CG with the hot takes. No, I'm the original Rosa Parks. You know, people say that John Millen was Rosa Parks because he was not going to be allowed to be canceled by C2E2. Well, I did it first. I did it first because I went to Kickstarter and I said, you're not going to cancel me. And I went to Kickstarter and I had my book there funded. So I was the first Rosa Parks. Plus, I'm a POC. I'm a real POC. John Millen's all white. I'm a real POC. So I'm the real Rosa Parks of CG. 100%. The real Rosa Parks. Do you know, says Jabba the Cook, what piece of media that looks visually pleasing? Bro, no, I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that. You're coming in here and you're trying to derail my stream with abomination. We'll not do it. The Geek Event says it's gross looking, and Jabba says, well, Nick Rekieta's gross looking. When is he? Well, yes, Slow-Mo Snyder, who makes boring sci-fi movies with farmers and so forth. Why do people give that guy even some time or the air of their day? Like, that's a whole other thing. I'm not gonna go into it. It's a whole other rant. So let me. Let's see. Mazza Panda with our anti-Snyder rant. I agree. Zack Snyder is a one-trick pony. Slow motion makes everything super dark, even characters that aren't meant to be, etc. Same played-out format over and over and over. Yeah, I think his cinematography is what gets him work because his movies visually look beautiful. They do look good visually. I'm not gonna lie. Like as much as he misinterpreted Batman's character for Batman v Superman, that fight scene in the warehouse looked visually good. It was really like it the way it looked, and I think that's why I like the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I thought the cinematography was beautiful in that movie. It did remind me of the fight warehouse scene in Batman v Superman. So I was glad that they went with that look. It was something that's really it adds to the world of Gotham and Batman himself. Emo Hamlet. I think that's a good way of putting it. It is Emo Hamlet. Lady Fairlane says Henry Cavill should play me. I will take that as a high compliment. Thank you. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, let me not. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Dawn of the Dead I forgot he directed that. You know what's funny? I forgot he directed Dawn of the Dead because I always thought that 300 was his best movie. But I forgot he directed Dawn of the Dead. I think I still prefer 300. 300 was a legit good movie. I did enjoy that movie. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead was surprised. People surprisingly did love that movie, and it was a hit because of it. Fiona is critical of one of our creators in CG. She says, I hate B.A. Turner's Vigilante Creed book. I didn't even get past chapter 3. The only few bucks that guy will ever get from me. Well, hopefully he'll do better work and reclaim me as a customer. Philsbuck says, Henry Cavill was perfectly cast, but the story was trash. You know, it's funny how this is a testament to Henry Cavill as and his charisma is the Superman movies under the DCEU were shit, but yet people loved Henry Cavill as Superman. And that speaks volumes to the actor and what he brought to the table as Superman. And yeah, I think it's a shame that his time as Superman is over. I think he deserved a better story. Definitely a better story. He deserved it. Yes, first impressions are definitely everything with characters for sure. Absolutely. Let's see here. Let me scroll down here. Okay. Oh, I just finished my water. I was going to do another water break, but I finished it. So yeah. Fiona's been. One thing about Fiona Wolf is she will throw out hints about what will make her back your book, and one of the things she talks about is crossover appeal, meaning will your book stick with a particular genre, or will it be able to cross over other genres and build an audience that way? And yeah, I've taken those to heart. I've taken those tips to heart. Massive Panda says, I agree 100%. Henry Cavill looks great as Superman. I just wish they had gone in the right direction with the character universe. Missed opportunity big time. No lie there, Massive Panda. 100% agree. No lie there. Let's see. Snyder, like many directors of his era, really should never be allowed to have anything to do with their script writing process. That's where they're awful. See, what bothers me is they give the wrong people 100% creative freedom. They give Ryan Johnson creative freedom. They give Zack Snyder creative freedom. They give George Lucas. Well, George Lucas gave himself creative freedom, and they produce shit. Some people just don't deserve creative freedom. You just got to check them. You got to have a team that checks them. Again, I go back to Ike Perlmutter and Kevin Feige. Ike Perlmutter is the one that was the best of the MCU. With him gone and Kevin Feige unchecked, you saw what he's produced. Pure shit. So, Fiona with a tip. She says, guys, really, learn to target an audience and not just cold call everyone. Yeah, I've had a few people send me DMs, creators, just telling me to check out the book. And I'm like, well, I don't say anything because I don't want to be rude, but I'm like, dude, just build an audience. Like, do what I did. I've done it earlier, but I rarely DM people and say, hey, check out my book. Especially now. Now I do the thing. I go on stream and I produce content and engage with the chat. And I find that, and then learning from like people like Fiona who gives her pearls of wisdom, and that does a lot to help me build an audience. It helps me to sell my book even better. So the real Superman, says Geek Avenger, would have been taught stoicism by Jonathan Kent. Stoic. I am stoic. Like Henry gets watched for the story, says Lady Fairlight. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Pray and spray with comics never works. It just makes a project look annoying. Pray and spray. Okay, so yeah, I like the recent Batman, says a guy in his room. Not a big fan of Pattinson's version of him, but the Riddler was the best version ever, and the movie looked awesome. I went into that movie, all right? I went into seeing the Batman expecting not to like it. I was still influenced by the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, so I was like, why are they redoing Batman again and trying to make us forget the Dark Knight trilogy? I went in, and I was, by the first 5 minutes of the movie, The Batman, I was hooked. I was like, wow, this is actually fucking good. It's real fucking good. And that was within the first 5 minutes. So if you get me say that in the first 5 minutes, you know you got something quality there. And yeah, The Batman was a quality movie, 100%. And for some people that say, well, there's some things about it that are woke. No, I can spot wokeness. And to me, that movie was not woke at all. There was nothing woke about that movie. So I definitely recommend that Batman movie for sure. He looked like a perfect Superman. That's Lady Fairlane still hot up for Henry Cavill. Yes, J.J. Abrams, he's a hack. J.J. Abrams is a hack. He's a hack writer and a hack director. His contribution to cinema is shit. Absolute shit. Yes, just write a good story. going back to what I said before about having a complete story in your books, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Lord Rappa says, yeah. I don't know what that means, but okay. So, my good friend Suzanne Exine. Hello, Suzanne. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you're here. Guy in the gym says, I agree. It's better than the last 20 Marvel movies. Yes. Wasn't it based on King? We got a Matt Wenger sighting here. Matt Wenger, the creator of Drago Knight Aldrake and the creator of the upcoming Super Harem 2. He's joining us here. Here's a good indicator. If I don't find overlap with a comic or a book, I mentioned I pick up a copy, but I've never mentioned it again. It means I do not IDNF. I don't know what that means. You'll have to tell me what DNF means. It means IDNF. I did not. I don't want to say what that F word is. You got to tell me. I'm sorry, but Selena Kyle isn't black. Well, here's the thing, Hothead. Do you remember the 1966 Batman TV series? Do you remember Eartha Kitt as Catwoman? Now, mind you, Eartha Kitt was not my favorite Catwoman. I don't find her particularly attractive. Never did. But she was a Catwoman. So, who was it that played a Catwoman in the Batman? It was... What the fuck's her name? My dementia's kicking in. Who played the Catwoman in the Batman? Let's see. It was Jones. It was Jones. Zoe Kravitz. It was Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz. I thought it was Lenny Kravitz's daughter. Yeah, Zoe Kravitz was Catwoman in the Batman. She wasn't the first black woman to play Batman, to play the Catwoman, but she was pretty good. I liked her as Catwoman. She wasn't bad at all. I didn't mind it. So I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with you on that one, because they were complaining about her and they were complaining about Commissioner Gordon being black. And honestly, when I first heard that Commissioner Gordon was being played by a black man, I was like, yeah, that's woke bullshit. But then when you see the movie, it's like, okay, he's not a bad actor. He's actually pretty good. The actor that played Commissioner Gordon. What's his name? His name is Jeffrey Wright. He wasn't bad as Commissioner Gordon. I give him his props. See, here's the thing. If you play the role pretty good, then I don't care about your race. It's only if you're race swapping for the sake of race swapping. Then I care. So the recent Batman looked like a real film too, not a throwaway superhero flick. It is a real film. Like I said, I went in with low expectations and I was blown away by it. And I'm like, you know what? This is a pretty fucking good movie. And it is a great Batman film. It's comparable with the Nolan movies. Do I think it's as good as Dark Knight? I think there's a debate about it, but I do think it's better than Dark Knight Rises. And I love Dark Knight Rises. I know people don't like it. I know it's controversial to say Dark Knight Rises is a good Batman movie. I thought it was a good end to the trilogy. With its flaws aside, it was a good poetic end to that trilogy. So, did not finish. Okay. That's what she meant by DNF. You did not finish. Got you. All right. So now we know. I love Julie Newmar. She is my quintessential Catwoman. For sure. Julie Newmar is freaking hot as hell. And I thought that I am at a loss for names. Who played Catwoman in in The Dark Knight Rises? What the heck was her name? Why am I forgetting names today? Anne Hathaway. Why did I forget her name? It was on the tip of my tongue. I like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I thought she was very sexy as Catwoman. And for me, she was like right up there with Julie Newmar. And I wasn't a big Michelle Pfeiffer fan, I'll be honest. And I know that she has a following, but I'm not a big Michelle Pfeiffer fan. As far as like attractive Catwoman, I said Julie Newmar and Anne Hathaway were sexy as hell. But Zoe Kravitz, she's right up there too. I give it to Zoe Kravitz. She really is good. I thought we were still on 65 Batman. No, well, I mean, right now we're doing a stream of conscious discussion. You know, the chat is having a conversation, and I'm engaging with the chat because we can do that. Why not? Holly Berry played Catwoman. The movie was complete dog shit, but she isn't exactly. See, I don't even count that movie because it's not even like a real Catwoman. Like like she's not even playing Selena Kyle. She's playing a totally different character. So I don't really count that movie as a result of that. So, but yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point, but she was a different character in that movie. Yeah, the Gordon dude is a good actor, except for some reason he whispered all of his dialogue and it really bugged the movie. I didn't think that. I didn't really think that, but I like Jeffrey Wright. He was a good Commissioner Gordon. I will give it to him for sure. Let me scroll down a little bit because I'm if I keep going behind, I'm gonna be here till 11 reading chats. Phil's the death of Pa Kent, says Phil's Bug. Man of Steel in 78. Show good versus bad storytelling. 1978 Batman with Christopher Reeve. Learns even with all his power, there's nothing he could do. Man of Steel learned just to let it happen. Yeah, that was really a brain dead writing choice there. Really brain dead. Like, why was he protecting Superman? Like, that wasn't his job. It's just, you gotta let him, he has to find himself and let him be who he was meant to be. So, I don't care if they play good characters, stick to the canon. Yeah, the canon is good. See, this is how behind I am, because I made a comment about Henry Cavill with Lady Fairlane, and I'm just now getting to a response. She says, Alana, I wasn't saying that dude was attractiveness. I said that because when I first saw him as Superman, he perfectly embodied the character. Only one I liked since original Christopher Reeve. Yeah, I think he needed a better script, and he would have really blown away people. And I really think with a better script, he would have really supplanted Christopher Reeve in terms of who we see and envision as Superman. But yeah, I think Henry Cavill was definitely given an unfair shake, and he was really robbed of his spot as a truly good Superman. And I agree with the guy in his room. I feel bad for Cavill because literally everyone loves him as Superman, but hates the Superman movies. Yeah, he really didn't get a fair shake, and it's kind of fucked up. But Kansas disagrees with me about Michelle Pfeiffer. He's a Catwoman fan for sure. And Milks Away, says Matt Wenger. Yeah, I did love Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. So let's see here. Let's go. I'm about to skip a few chats, guys, so I can catch up. Watch his scenes again. Oh, he's referring to Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon in the Batman. He does just gravelly whisper the entire movie, all his lines like he's trying to sound like Batman himself. Yeah, I'll give it a listen again. I have to watch that movie again because I really liked it enough to watch it again. So I'm gonna do that. What do you show me, Lord Raptor? What does boom mean? Let me see. Let me scroll up a little bit. Okay. What am I looking at here? Oh, that's the link to his stream, of course. So yeah, we're gonna head there. My stream is it's almost 10 o'clock. I'm about to scroll down fast. Maybe he was spared the Batman curse, as Matt Wenger. Oh, maybe, you know what? Let's hope for the best for Henry Cavill. Let's hope for the best. Okay, on that note, I'm going to end the stream because we're going to head over to Lord Raptor Jesus. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This was a great stream. You guys had fun. We enjoyed some Fletcher Flanks appreciation with this crazy art. Insane but satisfying stories. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're going to head over to Lord Raptor Jesus' stream, and I will leave you. You know how I always leave you. I leave you always with the Nina Drake because why not? It's how we end the stuff.